Do you think this is too large a camera for you?
I don't think so. I think it is absolutely fine. If I just put a small lens, then it's quite comfortable to hold it. I think I can hold it for a long time. So right now I have 40 in it, and it's pretty good and nice. It's quite comfortable to hold it. I am not having any issues as such.
How does it compare to the Z6 or the Z9 or the Z9?
I think it's better than Z6
Okay.
and pretty much close to Z9. It doesn't feel like a cheap build. It's pretty nice and solid.
Hey there, welcome to another episode of Frames TM. To me, this is a very important episode for all the Z8 users and intenders, meaning future buyers out there, me included. I'm waiting for my unit of the Z8 and I wanted to understand what the Z8 can do when it comes to video. What kind of cards do I have to buy? How long can I shoot, in what kind of conditions, in what kind of codecs, in what kind of video file format and quality. But that's only one part of the story. The other part of the story is that, well, Nikon launched something. How can controversies be far away? So right now we have conversations raging on whether the Z is actually as good as you all expected it to be, because it is supposed to be the mini Z9, right? So if it is the mini Z9, it should be a formidable camera with tremendous video capabilities and recording capabilities internally without having to use an external recorder.
So here's the Z8. This is not my copy. This is a sneak peek because I was too curious about it, and I asked Nikon that please let me have a look at the camera. I want to look at the camera, touch it, and see how it feels. Already there is a little bit of controversy brewing on the internet, on YouTube especially, about the overheating of this camera. So today I'm going to talk to you about what we have found about the Z8's performance when it comes to video so far, especially when it comes to the kind of codecs you can use and how long you can record, and what do you know about the card type. So yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to make all of the information out there, all the controversy discussions, the conversations back and forth out there, down to a few takeouts, and that's my attempt. So I'm going to review Matt Granger's video, I'm going to review Matt Irwin's video, Rishi's video, and also Gerald's video. I won't say I'm not going to review them. Yes, I'm going to sort of take their understanding and put them in an Excel sheet and see what we all can learn from that. And there's a lot to learn from that summary. So let's get right into it.
And so the four gentlemen actually have put together a lot of tests. It's hours and hours of testing. A lot of Z8s being pushed very, very intensely, overheating, shutting down, batteries, depleting, cards getting full. So, across continents, these four gentlemen have done a lot of work. Now, what will really help is that if you're able to sort of take all the understanding, take all the learning together and really simplify it. And let me tell you, I did this and it took me about I think almost about 5-6 hours. First, we're going to look at what Matt did, okay? And as you can see on the screen right now, we don't know whether Matt actually switched on his high temperature mode. It was not clear to me, okay? Surely the Z8 screen was not flipped out, but then so was the Z9 screen. It was not flipped out. There was no source of external power, both for Z8 and Z9 in his test. He used the 460GB Wise Advanced Pro, apparently it's Nikon approved, card interchangeably with the 650GB Pro Grade Cobalt. So then if you look at Gerald, again, was the high temperature mode on? I'm not sure. He talks about the high temperature mode, but he doesn't specify whether he has actually opted for the mode or not. Okay, so we don't know. External power source, again, no. Screen flipped out, not sure again, honestly. Probably not. Okay, then you get to Richie. His screen is flipped out. Yes, so this is wrong. His screen is flipped out. and there was an external power source. Again, high temp mode was not switched on. The screen flipped out. Yeah, it was flipped out. It was sort of, pulled out a little bit. There was an external source of power. When you see Matt Irwin's test, you see that the high temperature mode was again not switched on, except in one occasion when he switched it on. The screen was flipped out and there was source of external power. Okay, so Matt Irwin actually used a 2 GB per gear card with the battery door, the battery compartment door of the camera was open for quite a bit of his testing. Okay, he also used the same card keeping the battery door closed. He also used a Nikon ProGrade 660 GB card with the battery doors closed. He also actually tested the SanDisk SD card, 120 GB V30 SD card with the battery doors open. So these are the testing conditions of Matt Irwin. If we go back to Richie uses a Lexa 256 GB card, a Delkin Black card, and a AV Pro SE card. Now, Gerald mostly uses 650 GB ProGrade Cobalt card. So I would say they're mostly using approved cards, except for Matt Irwin's 2 GB per gear card, which is actually quite capable. The only thing it doesn't do is 8K 30, 8.3K NRAW and 60p. That's the only thing it can't do. But now let's look at a summary. Quickly, let's look at a summary. I think I've seen a lot of data now. We need to all bring it down to one sheet and understand what works, what doesn't work. This is what we've been waiting for, guys. Okay, this is what you have been waiting for. This is what I have been waiting for. This is where we have doubt, questions, further questions, all of those things answered. Okay, all right. 8.3 NRAW 60 fps. Gerald shows that you can actually shoot till 48 minutes and the camera can fail because of overheating. Okay, and he was using a 650 ProGrade Cobalt card. Yeah, all right. If you look at Richie's test, he switches on the high temperature mode and the battery dies with a Delkin Black card. The battery dies. There's no problem with the card or the camera. Card or the camera does not overheat. 1 hour and 66 minutes of the highest resolution, the highest codec, 3K NRAW 60 fps. Switch on the high temperature mode, you can get more than an hour with a large enough card, and if you have some amount of power supply. If you quickly switch the battery, I think it would have gone on to more than 1.5 hours. Okay, that is amazing. That's amazing. But I'm a bit sort of, so there is about 18 minutes of difference between Gerald London and Richie's performance in 8K 60 NRAW, and they're similar cards, but it's clear that now the Delkin Black definitely runs cooler than the 650 ProGrade Cobalt card. Okay, that's interesting. The difference between them is not too much, but there is enough still. I think in these, when you push them, you see this 20%, 30% difference. Interesting, very interesting. That's the learning for me here, that if you have to buy the best card possible, it's probably and for 8K NRAW 60 fps, it's probably the Delkin Black one. But with the 650 ProGrade, which is what I'm going for, it's good enough. I mean, honestly, 8K for 60 minutes, for 50 minutes, 48 minutes, even half an hour in 60 fps. I don't need more than that. Yeah, I'm cool. I'm all right. Okay, with the same second position card, 650 ProGrade Cobalt. Okay, Gerald actually saw that the Z8 can do 8K NRAW 24 fps, 1 hour 53 minutes, almost 2 hours, and the battery died. So if you're taking the battery out, put a battery back to it, I mean, it would have gone on. That is amazing. That's amazing. And I think 4K 30 would have been great as well. Let's look at what's the worst performance we get. We actually see that you get 4K. This is 4K. This is 8K 60 FPS NRAW. With, if you change the card, if it's a Lexa 256GB card, you only get up to 22 minutes. Okay, it's half, less than half of the ProGrade Cobalt 650. Okay, but in Matt Granger's test, I don't know what happened. Was it 640 Wise or the 650 ProGrade Cobalt? I don't know what happened, but it only did 26 minutes in 8K NRAW 30 FPS. Only 26 minutes in Matt Granger's video. That's a huge departure from 24 FPS result, and also in fact 60 FPS result on a Delkin Black by Rishi, and he switched on the high temperature mode. So Matt, if Matt uses the high temperature mode for 8K 30 and he probably uses the Delkin Black, I think these stats will change. Okay, now let's come down. Okay, now 4K ProRes H22 HQ 12-bit, a very, very powerful codec. 1 hour 49 minutes and the card was full again. Okay, 1 hour 49 minutes. Matt Irwin, the card was full. That is powerful. Okay, let's come down. Do I have any bad results here? Okay, there was no test done. Okay, now let's see. 8K ProRes 10-bit 422. ProRes 10-bit 8K 24 FPS. Matt Irwin says with a SanDisk 128 card, SanDisk 128GB V30, not in V60 or V90. It's a V30 card. The card was full after 32 minutes. I've been speaking for a long time. The card was full after 32 minutes. Matt, thanks for the test. I mean, okay, I can at least I can just keep the card door open. Maybe I can at least shoot for 15 minutes. All right, in 8K 24 FPS with the kind of card that everyone has. That is amazing. Okay, now what about when you use a Nikon ProRes 660? Okay, unlimited. I mean, you hit the limit of 2 hours 5 minutes of the camera. Battery doesn't die, the card doesn't get full. So what a powerful codec this is. 8K ProRes 10-bit. What a powerful codec this is. I mean, I'm very curious to see. So the question area, okay, I want to see what happens in ProRes 422 10-bit 60 FPS. I'm very curious to see what happens here. Has anyone done a test? No, not yet. Okay, interesting. All right, okay, let's come down. 1 hour 21 minutes with extended oversampling for 8K 10-bit H265. The battery died and the card was Delkin Black. So very interesting. Gerald does it for 30 for 24 FPS and it kind of matches, you see. 30 FPS, 1 hour 21 minutes with Delkin Black with 24 FPS, 8K 10-bit 24 FPS, 1 hour 49 minutes by Gerald undone. But it overheated and the card was 650 ProGrade Cobalt. Yeah, so yeah, the best card is Delkin Black. I can't find that in India. I mean, Delkin, I don't know what you're doing. I see your cards, but I don't see Delkin Black. Okay, all right. Now let's see Matt Granger, 8-bit 265, 30 FPS. The battery died and he used either of these two cards, the 640 Wise Advanced Pro or 650 ProGrade Cobalt. I think for much of his video, I think he's using the 640 Wise Advanced Pro for Z8. I think so, because it doesn't otherwise match with the other reviewers, because there are 3 other people, right? And every one of them has used a 650 ProGrade, right? So I know from that data that a 650 ProGrade can easily take 10-bit H265 here 10-bit H.265 24 fps for 149 minutes. It was done by Gerald. He's not a Nikon guy, and the camera overheated with 650 pro grade cobalt, and I don't think he was actually using the high temperature mode. At least he doesn't specify that. But Matt says the battery died, or okay, in this case the battery died actually. But then if it can go on for almost 2 hours with 10-bit 8K 24 fps, why can't it do 8-bit 30 fps? I find that a little surprising. I don't think the battery was fully charged when he started the video. It may not. It may have shown all the bars, but when you have come down from 100% fully charged battery to, let's say, 85%, or let's say 81%, 82%, you will still see all 3 or 4 bars. You will not see one bar come down. I think it only when you come down to 75% and below, you will see one bar vanish. So he might have thought it's a fully charged battery, but it's clearly not a fully charged battery, because the battery died at 1 hour 16 minutes, and from Gerald and I went on for 150 minutes in a much bigger codec, the 10-bit H.265. Yeah, that's something to note. Okay, all right. Was there any bad results here? No, nothing that I can mention here. Okay, let's calm down. ProRes 422 10-bit HQ60 extended oversampling on 2 hours. 2 hours 5 minutes. It hit the limit. This is amazing. 60 FPS 4.1K ProRes 422 10-bit HQ. He used a 2 GB per gear card. I mean, it's a great advertisement for that card, really speaking. The battery doors were open, but 2 hours 5 minutes. Okay, let's close the battery door. It'll be what? 1 hour 20 minutes? 1 hour 20 minutes? 1 hour of ProRes 4.1K 422 10-bit HQs in 60 FPS extended oversampling on. That's amazing. If you line skip it, Gerald says the battery dies, no overheating with the 650 Pro grade cobalt, but it's almost 2 hours 1 hour 59 minutes. Line skipped. Same for ProRes 422 10-bit HQ60 FPS. Okay, but Gerald also says that if you shoot in 4.1K ProRes 422 extended oversampling on, for which Matt Irwin got 2 hours 5 minutes, the camera hit the limit with a 2 GB per gear card. For Gerald, he got overheating at 56 minutes. The card door was closed, and it was a 650 Pro grade cobalt. That's what I meant. That okay, close the card door. All right, close the card door. I accept the Matt Irwin's test with the card door open may not have been accurate. Also understand they are in different situation scenario. You don't know the gap given between each test. I know Matt mentions that he gives almost 2 hours for the camera to cool down, because for after 2 hours of shooting, you'll probably give it at least an hour of rest. If you go out and take a bite, probably have some snacks, have some catch lunch, you just cool off, you do some other things between the shoot, and then you have a minimum of 45 minutes to 1 hour gap. So okay, he is given 2 hours gap. All right. So in ideal condition, at least in the first run, when the camera is all right, you can clearly go up to 2 hours 5 minutes. But when the camera is slightly warm, I think, and if the battery door is closed, I think you're going to get somewhere around 50 minutes to an hour's recording time, and that is still incredible, guys. If you can't handle this, I don't know what I mean. Okay, figure your life out. You should be able to. Okay, you should learn how to handle this. Learn it. All right. Yeah. 4K 10-bit H.265 24 FPS. Gerald dies it. The battery dies after 1 hour 58 minutes. Amazing result. Okay. 650 Pro Grade Cobalt. It's 24 fps, 4K, 10 bit oversampling on 24 fps. That is, I think it's the oversampling was on. Now, if you do it for 8-bit, Matt Granger says you go up to 145 minutes. I'm surprised again because it's okay. All right, it's 60 fps. So 60 fps, 8-bit, and 24 fps, 10-bit, very similar sort of time limit. In both cases, the battery died. Interesting. Okay, all right. Let's come down. That's it. Do you have bad results for this segment? Yes, you have. You have 4K 10-bit, 120 fps. Matt Granger says it can go up to 35 minutes and then the camera overheats. That is fine. 35 minutes of 4K 10-bit H.265 422 120 fps for 35 minutes. Yeah, I mean it's what into 4, right? It's 140 minutes, 2 hours 20 minutes of slow mo. So I mean, what are you complaining about? You have nothing to complain. This is fantastic performance. 35 minutes overheating it should overheat after 35 minutes of 4K 120 fps. Okay. Does the Sony A7S III do the same thing? I don't know. That's a good question. But can you do better with a different card? Probably yes. Can we do better with high heat temperature control switched on? Yes, I think so. So in those situations, if it's a Delkin Black, and if you switch on the high temperature mode and you shoot in 4K 422 10-bit H.265 in 120 FPS, I think it's a different scenario. Okay, all right. What else? Okay, I really don't understand 4K ProRes RAW 60 FPS oversampling on. The card was full after 11 minutes. I think this is an incomplete test. We need to see what else. We also need more people to use Delkin Black. I think in short, there are 3 winners. Delkin Black, Pro Grade Cobalt 660, 2 GB per gear, or 2 TB per gear, or 1 TB per gear. There, I think it's sustained reach speed of 1300 Mbps. That card. Okay, so these 3 are for me the cards to go for. I heard about Wise. I'm not too sure about the Wise right now. I'm really not sure. It needs more testing. Number 1. Number 2. You can easily do a lot of 4K 120. You can easily do in 10-bit. You can easily do very, very high quality 4.1K ProRes 10-bit HQ extended oversampling on in 60 fps very easily for at least an hour or more. With any of these cards. You can do 10-bit 8K very easily, especially in 24 FPS. You can also use 30 FPS. And I think I am very curious to see if 8K ProRes 422 10-bit 24 FPS can go up to us 5 minutes with the Nikon ProGrade 660 or 650 with doors closed. I want to see what happens when you use 30 FPS. I'm curious to see that because, and I'm also curious to see a similar test done on 60 FPS. I'm expecting to see at least an hour's shooting. ProRes 10-bit 422 60 FPS. It's probably a very large file, but yeah, an hour's shooting. So I think all in all, I'm very happy when I compile all the results, all the tests. I see consistency there, and I'm very happy. we need to see what happens in high in a hot climatic situations. Like in India, for example, here you have somewhere between 30 to 40 degrees Celsius in different parts of India, and it's more humid. It's really hard summer right now here. I'm curious to see what happens with. I will only have access to 650 Pro grade cobalt, which is a second best, so it gives you a fairly realistic idea of what's going on. And it's also sort of 650 GB is more manageable, it's more normal for most people than let's say 2 TB cards. So therefore I think if I'm able to do that, whenever I'm able to do that, it's going to give you a very good idea of what happens. I'm going to fill up this entire list and give you answers. So whatever tests haven't been done, I'm going to do that. So that's what it is. If you're still watching, please subscribe and like and share this video, and I'm going to see you very soon with another one, and I'm going to soon review this Nikon DX 12 to 28 mm power zoom, VR power zoom, f35 f3.5 to f5.6. This is an amazing lens. I've used it. This lens is so convenient. It's a beautiful lens. I loved using it. Okay, now I think Nikon is going towards making powerful DX solutions, especially for vloggers, content creators, and people who use video for lifestyle. I think there's a lot to look forward to from Nikon in DX. Okay, all right, I'm going to see you very soon with another one. Very soon. Please subscribe.